Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how to scale your coaching business to $1 million with one offer, no sales calls, and in 4 hours per day. But more importantly, without sacrificing your peace, profit, or passion in the process. But who is this for? Well, you are perhaps an existing coach, consultant, or a course creator. You've probably done all of the things already. You've maybe tried ads, you've tried content, you've had funnels and email marketing and whatever else. You've done things, but you maybe hit a bit of a plateau in your business. You want to make millions doing work you love. Again, importantly, with people you love, right? You want to have a business, you enjoy the work you do, and you enjoy the people you're doing it with. You have an audience of some kind. That could be 500 followers, it could be 50,000, it could be 100,000, and you're already getting clients. Again, it could be a handful of clients, or it could be many clients, but you know that there are gaps in your system and your process somewhere. You may sell multiple offers, and perhaps you find the complexity of it, or even the idea of selling multiple offers, very complex and overbearing and just ultimately not worth it. You are getting leads, but perhaps they have a lot of objections. They need to think about it, and then maybe see you as an option, as not the only option. You've invested in programs before, you know a lot, but again, perhaps lack the clarity and a clear roadmap for you to follow. And finally, you post consistently, you have a strategy, again, you know what you're doing. But again, the difference you understand is in the details, in the nuance, and in details that you just can't see just yet. Now, why should you listen to me? Again, I don't want to waste a bunch of time talking about me because this is not about me, it's about what I know. But I need to introduce you to me very quickly. So in 2016, I was at university studying to be an architect. That's what I wanted to do for pretty much my whole life. In 2019, I graduated at university. I landed my first job in architecture and I left it after about 3 months, which is going into early 2020, which is when the pandemic was happening. And it's when I then moved into social media marketing and essentially running a kind of an agency setup. I've done pretty much everything you can think of, whether that's content creation, whether that's social media marketing, social media consulting, branding, advertising, paid ads. I've pretty much, if you wanted it, I done it. That's kind of position I was in early 2020. I'd built a weird desk setup tech page in 2019 to 30,000 followers organically. Weird for some, but not weird for me. And so in 2020, I decided in March 2020 to start my personal brand, which is the current page, the one you would have found me on. And that went from 0 to 100,000 followers organically in the space of about 9 months. And that was before Reels, that was before anything that you see today. It was a very different time of Instagram. And the page grew very quickly. However, the business didn't grow quickly at all. In fact, it was really quite tough. I was at a point where I was making $2,000-3,000 per month with 100,000 followers. And I'm going to get into the details on exactly why that was and kind of situation there. But it's just fair to say that that first year was, in terms of business, not a very good year. But in terms of growth, of course, it was amazing. But I understood I'd done things the wrong way, actually, overall. From 2021, I then started a high ticket coaching program. That's when I invested in my first mentors and started to get help. And that's really when things started to pick up for me. Um, and slowly over time, over the past few years, I've been doing the same program, the same offer. I've been selling, pretty much nothing else for that entire time. Now at a stage where I've done 2 million sales, helped a bunch of other people. I started off as with my partner, with my girlfriend. Now we're married. Now we have a baby boy. Unfortunately, we went through 4 miscarriages in this time. We had to go through IVF to have our boy Xander, his name, who was literally born last month. So on the business side, it's a lot of it's been positive with some ups and downs, and personal side, it's been the same. It's not been easy whatsoever. But all of these experiences have led me to the type of business and the business model I have today, which is what I, of course, want to share with you. And again, it's not just about me, but about people I've helped. 5 million client wins, over 40 niches, last time I counted, industries across every continent of the world, of course, apart from Antarctica. And so you can just see here, if you feel free to pause it and have a look, just some of the wins that I've picked out and decided to highlight, from the past few years. So to start this, let me introduce sort of the main problems we're facing right now in the coaching industry. Funnels, their traditional sense, don't work like they used to anymore. Today, we are 2025 in a very different situation compared to what we were in 2020, even before that. And the online education industry is a vastly different place and requires a different way of working than what we've done before. And there's a massive oversaturation of value, of ChatGPT prompts and all of these things, massive volume of content in every single niche. Paid ads aren't really doing much better. They get more and more expensive every single year for various reasons we won't go into, but they do get more expensive and harder to actually get benefits from. Organic reach is unpredictable. Now, when you get followers, it doesn't really mean anything. You can have 100,000 followers, but it's no guarantee people actually see your content. Competition's higher than ever before, only going to get higher, and the lack of focus that most people tend to have on brand building means that you are very susceptible to market shifts and trends and stuff like that, which can essentially wipe your business out. And these are things that we need to fix. But it's a big lie that a lot of other coaches and creators will tell you, and you may have heard before, and it's this idea that we're in a trust recession, right? This idea that trust is at an all-time low in the industry, and it's just not true. The real issue here is what we call market sophistication. Now, every market, that is, a market in which you're selling something, there are different stages that market goes through. The first stage is first to market. So if you think about Apple, you think about the iPhone and the touchscreen phone. When that first come out, there was never a touchscreen phone until the iPhone, as far as I'm aware anyway. And so because it was the first to market, it was a new opportunity. It was basically extremely easy to sell in the sense that there was no competition. There was no one else doing it because they were first to market. As you move through the stages, more competitors enter, more people start selling the same thing, and the stage of the market changes in the sense that what works before doesn't work now, and you have to move into a position where third and fourth stage, for example, you have to introduce mechanisms and unique methods and strategies that you use that differentiate you from other people to be able to get clients and still keep growing. Most people, in the coaching industry, act as if we're still in the first stage. We're not. Right now we're in the third and fourth stage in terms of the sophistication of the coaching industry. And what that simply means is that you coming on Instagram or online and posting content saying, I help you do X through Y, that's not enough. It's not enough to just give value. It's not enough to just be good at what you do anymore. You have to learn how to really and truly differentiate yourself, introduce unique mechanisms in the market. That is the only way you are going to scale to $1 million in your coaching business in today's market. And it's only going to get harder from here on out. So it's not about trust, it's about alignment. Do you align with the person in front of you? And do you align with how they help you get to the goal? And clarity. Can you see a very clear path from point A to point B that person is going to take you on to get you to your goal? And when you have those two things, that's when people buy in this industry, because trust, believe it or not, is actually quite an easy thing to build. It's quite an easy thing to create. You should be building trust regardless, but it's these two things beyond trust that get people buying from you. And so the traditional old way of doing things is, multiple offers. You have multiple social media platforms. You essentially just earn money and chuck money at problems and cross your fingers and hope. You hire more team members. You send more messages. You add more funnels. You spend more on ads. You rely on AI and ChatGPT much more. That's really what I like to define as the old way. Well, in other words, it's scaling with force, right? It's just trying to force things and just try to always do more work. And it's not that doesn't work. It's a pathway to burnout, a pathway to unfulfillment, and to lots of mistakes and also missed opportunities. The new way, or perhaps the way that I like to do things now, is we build an engine rather than a funnel. We focus on attracting soulmates rather than strangers. We have one universal offer rather than many. We take that one offer and we sell it in many ways. We stack profit, leverage content. We use AI to streamline and maximize our efficiency. We remove funnels and create flow. And this allows us to scale, not with force, but with flow instead, of a business that aligns with our personal values. And it's not just designed to help us make money. And all of that, it really is what led me to creating what I call the Synthesized Coach Blueprint, which is my blueprint, which is my model to help you scale your coaching business. And it's built off the foundation of 5 very important values to me that determine everything that I do in my business. So every action, every decision I make is all determined by these 5 values, right? These 5 values being profit, passion, impact, simplicity, and freedom. And if I was to just quickly define them, profit is my business must make 9% profit or more. Otherwise, I need to make changes. I must have passion in the sense that I don't want to run away from the business, and I wake up excited to work on it every day. I want to have impact, so I want to change lives and actually help people. Simplicity means it's one offer. I have no headaches. I have peace in my business. because there's not too many things happening. And in terms of the freedom, I've defined it personally as 4 hours of work per day maximum. That doesn't mean I have to work 4 hours every day, but it means I can and choose as and when I want to work, and up to that many hours is needed maximum at any one time. Now, the Synthesized Coach Blueprint functions off of four main components or four main methods that I use. Soul content, number one, we use that to attract soulmates. We then use the daily inbound engine that is going to turn our soulmates into daily inbound leads. We then have our universal offer, which is designed to convert and close those soulmates and turn them into clients in the DMs without sales calls. We then use something called leverage design, or the leverage model, I should say, which is taking those clients, delivering world-class results, keeping them for years, not months, but doing it in a way that doesn't require you to be on calls, coaching, consulting every day, hours on end, every day of the week. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain each of these systems and components one by one, give a bit of an insight into how they work. And at the end of the video, you can then decide next steps, whether you want to find out more about how I can help you with these, or whether you just found a video valuable and you want to kind of, try and do things yourself. So number one is soul content. Now, the problem with content strategy as a whole, in terms of how most people teach it, is there's a few different angles and positions on it. You either get taught to just drown your audience with value, the Hormozy way, or you get taught the complete opposite, which is to never give value, or you get taught to use ads to boost your best performing content. Usually best performing means the one that gets the most likes, the most followers, and so on. Or you get taught to use freebies and ManyChat to generate thousands of leads and followers, or you get taught the most common strategy is something along the lines of a growth, nurture, and convert strategy. It might be worded or named differently, but you have growth content to generate growth and followers, nurture content to warm people up to buy from you, and convert content to take people from followers into lead and clients. And that is your kind of typical approach to content, but there's many problems and issues with this. The main ones being, number one, you attract freebie seekers, you attract triers, not buyers, you attract leads who ghost you, you attract people who always say they need to think about it or they can't afford it, or people who say, I love your content, but I'll never buy it. That is just a reality of the most common strategies that people are teaching nowadays with content. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see, I've just taken a few screenshots of content I've seen going viral on YouTube and Instagram. And it's very frustrating because you look at these numbers and you think, wow, 80,000 likes, 9,000 comments, 12,000 likes, all of these comments. And you think, okay, that person must be, raking it in. They must be a millionaire. And the honest answer is it couldn't be any further from the truth. And I can say that for a few reasons, because number one, I've been there and done it myself. I've been there and I've had the engagement, I've had the views, the comments, the leads, and it's not converted. Number two, I know a lot of these people, not necessarily people here, but I know people in these situations. I've coached them. And also I know coaches who have coached these people. I've been in and around this industry for a long time now, and I see beyond the vanity metrics. And it's frustrating because you'll see something like, 10,000 leads in 7 weeks. And I've done the numbers on that particular example, and actually that person, their conversion rate, funny enough, based on the numbers that they've been sharing, is 0.2%. Right? So the hook should actually say, the funnel I used has a 0.2% conversion rate, because that's the reality of it, right? 10,000 leads, but they're not actually leads. But that's the conversation for another day. But the point is, not everything is what it seems, because most people focus too much on what to create. They don't focus enough on how to create it. And that's something that I do and I focus on, is how to make content, not just what to post. Where other people create for the brain, I like to create for the soul, because it's not about attracting strangers or followers to our page. It's about attracting soulmates, right? Soulmates are people who buy with ease. They are the people who only want you, the people who will reach out to you after 24 hours of finding you. These are the people you want to be speaking with. They're inbound leads. They're soulmates at the end of the day. It's like love at first sight. You can have that in marketing. You can have that with your business, but only when you're creating for the soul, not the brain. So brain content, it uses promises, focuses on value, shares tips, it sells the outcome, it sells features, it speaks to problems, and it targets a niche. But soul content, on the other hand, we do things differently. We focus on ideas. If we can sell the idea first, and people are sold on that, it makes selling the offer much easier. It becomes a natural next step. We focus on creating a shift. People don't buy because you give a lot of value. They buy because you change the way they think, you change the way they feel towards a certain problem. That's what creating a shift does. And we share philosophy. Again, philosophy is a big part of people's buying decisions. Do they align with how you do things? The path, again, that's straightforward. It's how you get them from point A to point B. Do they believe in that path? If yes, they buy it. The mechanisms, it's the methods, the symptoms are the problems people have right now, not problems they have in the future. And we speak to identities. We don't speak to a niche. A niche is too narrow. It's too focused. It's not flexible enough. Identity encompasses a lot of people, but it's also very specific at the same time. And the outcome of this, well, as I mentioned, you attract ready to buy soulmates. You get leads to see you as the only option. People are happy to pay thousands in a DMs with no sales calls. That is possible. You may have done it already. You may not have, but it is possible to be closing $3, $5, $10,000 clients with no objections, with no sales calls. People who will find you and buy within the day. It's all possible. You can see on the right-hand side here, I've just got a few screenshots of clients and wins, that we've had inside my program, off the back of using soul content. This is the power of it. It really does make a difference when you're getting the right people coming through in the first place. You don't need sales strategies. You don't need these crazy funnels or, pushy tactics, whatever it might be. Your soul content does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And so moving on to the daily inbound engine. Now, when you scale your business, you really scale it in one or two ways. And I know both of these ways because I've done both of them over the past 4 years. You have the bro scaling way, the babe scaling way. Bro scaling is your typical pushy kind of sales tactics, your sales calls, your guarantees, paid ads. This is the quintessential Alex Hormozi blueprint to scaling your business. And again, nothing wrong with it. It's one way of doing things. The other side of that, you have your babe scaling. Babe scaling is the opposite. It's your very passive. It's your landing page. It's your offer ladder, your offer suite. It's your memberships and school communities. It's this sort of way of scaling that maybe feels very nice. It feels like it's going to be good, but actually it doesn't really work that well. Now, both of these come with a lot of problems. I'm not going to go through each of these. Again, feel free to pause it and read through. But the big ones being the use of time, right? Bro scaling on one hand is time consuming in the sense that there's not many things you have to do, but the things you do have to do, you have to spend a lot of time doing them. Sending messages, taking sales calls, they work, but they require a hell of a lot of time for it to work. On the other side of the equation, with babe scaling, you time waste, right? Which means that you spend a bunch of time doing things that don't matter, doing things that don't actually move the needle forward in your business, like launches or free masterclasses, having a membership. It's just stuff like that actually is not as impactful as you might think it is, and just waste more time than really is necessary. And so the reality is both of these options work in the same way. They are funnels, right? Whichever way you look at it, they are both funnels. Well, they use funnels to some degree. And funnels themselves are designed to guide people from unaware to most aware. I won't go into this in too much detail, but they're designed to take someone from not knowing you, not knowing what you do, not even knowing they even have a problem, right the way through to understanding they have a problem. They're looking for a solution. They know about your offer, and they're looking at you as a person to help them with actually solving that problem and achieving their goal. That is most aware. Funnels are designed to do that. But there's one big issue with funnels, and it's that they lead your followers. It leads them into a simple decision of buy or die, right? It's a binary decision. You either buy from me or you don't. You buy from me or you disappear. That's the challenge with funnels. And that itself creates more problems. 3 in particular. A, you have a leaky funnel, right? Which means that you're always chasing new leads. You're always trying to find the next person, the next conversation, the next person to download your lead magnet. B, you waste a lot of time trying to convince people who don't need convincing or who aren't convinced in the first place and will take a lot of time to be convinced. I'll explain that in a second. Or C, is you end up selling the same thing in the same way to everyone. And these themselves create bigger problems that we have to solve. Now, what is my solution to that? Well, we don't use a funnel inside the Synthesized Coach Blueprint. We use something called an engine, right? And an engine, a car engine, just use the metaphor, an engine has fuel. And a fuel in an engine, it doesn't go from the fuel tank into the engine and then combust and create energy straight away. The fuel goes from the fuel tank into the engine. Some of it combusts, some of it gets turned into energy. The rest of it gets recirculated through the engine, right, until it's ready to be used and to be burnt into energy. And the same principle can apply in marketing. The same principle can apply with your business. Is that we want to build a system where your leads, your followers are always recirculated within your ecosystem, within your universe, whatever you want to call it. That's what an engine does. And the engine that I teach, it works off of 4 very simple inputs to create massive output. Again, just like a car, you turn a steering wheel, you press the accelerator, you press the brake, you change gear. 4 very simple actions that allow you to drive 100 miles an hour, to drive 1,000 miles, right? To get from one side of the country to the other. Small inputs, massive output. Same principle with these 4 actions. Every day, all you have to do in terms of the system I teach, you post content, you make offers, you chat with leads, and you serve your clients. Now, of course, there are details within this in terms of the back end and how it all works. But the crux of it, your day is really less than an hour in terms of the actual work you have to do. And so it's a very simple process to actually get results, and it removes all complexity and keeps things very simple. B, another thing we change is we stop trying to convince. Now, let's say that, for example, you're a fitness coach, you help people lose fat, but specifically you help them lose fat through CrossFit, right? Now, the traditional way of selling with a funnel is you have to find someone who isn't even looking to lose fat. You need to, number one, convince them they need to lose fat. Then number two, you have to convince them that CrossFit is the best way to lose fat, right? That's what the unaware and problem aware stages of a funnel do. But with my system and what I teach, we ignore that and we only create content for people. We only attract people who already believe they need to lose weight and already believe in CrossFit, right? Or they already believe they have a problem that you solve, and they already believe in the thing you teach in terms of solving it. Because look, there are thousands, right, of other people, other creators who do the exact same thing as you, whether that's online or in person, and who are convincing your leads in the unaware and problem aware stages. So why do you also need to do it as well? Right? The simple answer is you don't, right? So you're wasting time trying to convince people when actually you can position yourself much better, right, as the ideal solution by focusing on the final 3 stages of awareness, from solution aware right away through to most aware. C, the final point of this is that we will take the same offer, but we will teach it, but I will teach you how to sell it in different ways to different people. One of the reasons people don't scale is not because they don't have enough followers. You don't need to get more followers, post more, get more traffic, get more leads. All you simply have to learn to do is maximize the efficiency of your funnel, maximize the conversion of the leads you're already getting. Of course, if you then get more leads from that, amazing, but you have to maximize first. And we do that by understanding that in terms of your audience, there's not just one person we're selling to. Again, a funnel is you have leads, go through a funnel, and they have an option to buy. But leads are made up of many different people. You have complete strangers, you have people who have bought from you before, you have people who have booked a call but didn't show up, people who have on a sales call you may not offer, but they didn't buy. You have people who are past clients, you have existing clients, you have many different types of people in your audience where you can actually take your one offer, craft it and offer it in different ways to these different people, and therefore you can maximize your conversion. There's an entire system behind that, but I haven't got time to go through all of that. And just simply doing this, again, a few examples of wins on the right-hand side, but you're going to get daily inbound leads, minimize audience loss, right, which maximizes then the efficiency of your system. You can stop chasing leads, right, because you're not leaking leads. You now have leads in your ecosystem all the time, and you can reduce your daily working time as a result. And of course, reduce the stress and anxiety that is caused by the complexity and also by the inefficiency of your traditional funnel. That is what the daily inbound engine will solve for you. Number 3 is the universal offer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I grew 100,000 followers when I started my current page very quickly in about 9 months. And I was always sold this idea of passive income, funnels, right? And just having all of these things that really sounded nice, right? I could not work and not do anything and make a whole bunch of money. And so how I started was with your traditional offer ladder, your traditional babe scaling way of doing things. So I had a membership, I had an online course, I had a group program, I had a mastermind, I had all the things you can think of, designed in the way they should be designed, but yet I could barely scrape past $3,000 a month, right? Now, number one, it wasn't just purely based on the offer. There were other factors, of course, to influence that. But a key issue I had was the time investment, but also the mental capacity that I did not have to be able to manage all of these things. Because a problem in one offer that you need to fix or solve. When you fix or solve it, that doesn't benefit the other offers, right? So every time you improve or change one offer, it doesn't impact or improve the other one. So you get a fire in this program or in this offer, you then get a fire over here, and it becomes like, the go to an arcade, there's those whack-a-mole games, so you stand there with that baton and the mole pops up, you have to whack it, and they pop up more and more, quicker and quicker. Well, it's the exact same idea of an offer ladder, in that you have all these different offers, and that creates multiple problems, multiple complexity that become eventually very, very difficult to manage on your own. And that then requires you to hire big teams, spend a lot of money. It becomes a real mess to manage. And again, it's not that you can't do it, it's not that it doesn't work, it does work. But if you're trying to stick with those values of peace and profit and passion, simplicity, then this just doesn't work. So for me, I transitioned to what's known as what I call the universal offer. Now, this way of structuring an offer isn't necessarily anything new, right? There are other people who do something very much similar to this, but I wanted to just quickly share it anyway. So the idea behind this is we take our one offer and we essentially divide it up, and we market it and sell it in 3 to 4 different ways. You have a free version of it, might be like a lead magnet. You have an impulse offer, you have a scalable, you have an intimate version. And the idea here is that these 3 or 4 different ways of selling your offer, they are not individual offers. They are all the same program, all the same offer, but you just segment them and use them in different ways. So for example, people join my program and there's 2 options to work with me. You have a group option, right, where you don't get access to me directly through calls, or you have an intimate or one-to-one option where you can get access to me through calls. But on both options, people get access to the exact same stuff. Same lessons, same material, same group calls. It's all the same. The difference is we're monetizing proximity. We're not monetizing products, right? That's the difference. And when you're someone who enjoys working with people, and when you're attracting soulmates, right, not random people into your business, it becomes a massively enjoyable program, a massively enjoyable business to be showing up for. It's like, imagine you're building your business with your best mates. It's what it feels like, right? When you have the right people coming in. And that's why I focus on a universal offer for many reasons. This again, feel free to pause and have a look, but we'll just explain the difference between an offer ladder and a universal offer. But overall, again, it's the simplicity of it, it's the ease of being able to scale, and really the way I like to sum it up is it's all the scale, but none of the complexity. That's what a universal offer gives you. And for me, by far, was the best thing I've ever done, because I've done the offer ladder, I've done the bro scaling of just one offer. And a universal offer is a combination of the 2. It's a synthesis of the 2 ideas together. And so you get the best of both, but without any of the downsides of both, which is amazing. Again, just a few examples of some wins and some successes from students who have implemented this, whether that's the universal offer, or whether, for example, Beatrice and Thomas using the impulse offer system. There's a few examples there of wins and student wins you can see to understand that these ideas do actually work and create massive results in your business. Finally, let's talk about the leverage model. Now, most coaches have programs that either A, get sales, right, but you then struggle to keep clients long term, you struggle to get results for whatever reason, you get refunds, and you're always chasing new people. Or B, you get good results, right, and you you can keep clients perhaps for a long time, but you struggle on the front end to attract people and to convert people. A lot of that's down to you have a lot of one-to-one time, a lot of customization, and that means you're working so much in the business that you just can't simply focus on working on the business to actually be able to scale it. So you're stuck in limbo in terms of what you actually do. Now, what happens here is that both options, both situations are limited because you focus on basic inputs to try and solve it, as opposed to leveraged inputs. And I'll explain the difference. Basic inputs would be inputs of low importance and low leverage. So these are activities where you believe just adding more of something or doing less of something is the answer, right? So if you want to scale, you think, okay, well, I just have to reduce my one-to-one calls. I have to add group calls. I have to hire a coach. I have to film an online course. I have to create more resources, so on and so forth. None of that is wrong, right? But these are basic inputs. These are the 1% changes you have to make that make a 1% change in terms of actually the scalability of the business. Because you can have a group program, but you can have a bunch of clients that won't ever leave you alone because they need support and they're not self-led, right? Or you can have one-to-one And it might be that no one actually books in one-to-one calls, but then no one gets results. And then you can't sell, you don't get testimonials, you have a lot of issues. So when you focus on basic inputs, you get basic outputs, and you're constantly trading time. You're trading 1 unit at a time for 1 unit of output, and that's not what you want. Leverage inputs. The idea behind this is you want to be able to trade 1 unit of time and get multiple units of output from it. So you're no longer focusing on just the what, okay, how many calls I need or what do I need to do. You're no longer focused on that. You're focused more now on the how, right? Specifically, how you design a roadmap for success for your students. How do you design calls in a way that get results but require less of you to show up? How do you structure support in the right way? How do you create students that are self-led, self-motivated? How do you build an online course? Should you build an online course? How do you deliver that information? When do you deliver that information? In what order you deliver that information? All of these things are leverage inputs. It's one input, multiple units of output you get from it. That's how you scale, right? That's how I'm able to manage. I think we've got 30, 40 students at the moment inside my program, and I spend probably 30 minutes a day, if that, managing my students. Yet they get all of these amazing results because I have a leverage model I'm using to be able to do that. A lot of that is based off what I call the 4Ps: psychology, path, process, personalization. Psychology simply is how to think, right? So inside your programs, you're teaching people how to think, not just how to act. The path is when you're laying out a very clear roadmap on how to get the most of the program. Process is then the methodologies, the strategies you're teaching. You're giving them a process step by step to follow. And then personalization is in how do you personalize your program and make sure that it is custom, and it is mostly relevant for people in their unique situations. Now, that is not a blanket process, but that is a process that you use for every part of your program, for calls, for the offer, for every part of it. You run it through that process. And then what we do is we design your leverage model together, right? So I help you design that leverage model and enable you to scale without having to put it in more time and energy, all the time. And so again, the outcome from that, again, the final point is got more wins and successes on the right-hand side. But the main point of this is you have clients that are self-led, self-motivated. You can get world-class results, but without having to constantly work more, constantly be on calls. Clients are doing the work, they're trying their best. The clients who actually you enjoy working with, they pay and stay for years. And the clients who happily refer and sing your praises. This is the ideal situation to be in. But most people just don't realize that when you sign a client, when you get someone into your program, you get someone working with you, the work doesn't stop then. If anything, that's when the work starts, right? And that's why a lot of people struggle to get results and to retain and to scale, is because they're losing clients. They're not getting results that they can be. And it's not because you don't know what you're talking about. It's that you don't know how to deliver a program in a way that gets results and gets results without you being constantly tied to the program itself. And that is what the leverage model is all about. And that's what it sells. And so, finally, just to wrap up, I just want you to imagine a scenario with me. I want you to imagine a situation where you have one offer with all the scale, but with none of the complexity that comes with having multiple offers. I want you to imagine a mental space, the time you would unlock. Now, you don't have to show up and market for all of these multiple offers that you may have. Imagine being able to add an extra $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 per month, selling work that you're already doing, right? Imagine that I can just wave a magic wand, you can make more money with things you're already doing, no extra work required. How can you imagine a situation when you're closing 3 to 10K clients with zero objections, with or without sales calls? That is, again, I can teach you how to do both. Imagine attracting soulmates, the people who only want you, right? The people who pay and stay for years. They are the people who scale your business. It's not always getting new people, it's how to keep people. And imagine attracting daily leads. Right? Imagine waking up every morning and seeing your phone has DMs from new soulmates, new people wanting to work with you. Imagine the abundance that would give you, and the feeling that would give you to be able to just scale and take action and not worry about the actions you're taking and feel, very confident in doing that. All of that is possible with a Synthesized Coach Blueprint. Now, I don't want it to seem like it's easy. I don't want it to seem like it's extremely simple, because of course it's not easy. Simple, actually, yes. Easy, no, of course not. But I want you to understand that it is possible, from someone who's been there 4 years, a long time now, someone who's been through the ups and downs, someone who's been through the complexity, been through, the rejections and everything else that comes with being a business owner in the coaching industry. I've been there and done it. And this is 4 years in the making, and I'm at a stage now where I work a couple hours a day, make a lot of money, more money than what I need realistically on the path to 100K in recurring income monthly. Amazing clients, love my clients, amazing results. And again, it's all possible because of this system I've built. And so, my call to action to you is that if you want to scale your coaching business, you want to learn how to use the Synthesized Coach Blueprint, or even you want to learn how to use part of this blueprint, and you want my help to actually implement that, into your business, then just DM me the word blueprint, send it over to me on Instagram directly, and I will personally message you and reach back out. I'll ask you a handful of questions, just make sure we're definitely the right fit for each other. Then, of course, I can send you all the details on my program at SCB, exactly how it works. And then you can decide whether you want to jump in or join a waitlist, because we're not always open. I have an open close enrollment process. But yeah, like I said, if you want to scale your coaching business following this blueprint, DM me the word blueprint on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to help.